The knock came hard and sudden. Michael Okotorigba froze mid-keystroke as red and blue lights washed across his living room wall. Through the blinds, he saw two officers on his porch, hands resting on their holsters. He opened the door slowly, laptop still in hand. "Sir, we got a report of a possible cybercrime," one of them said. Michael blinked. "Cybercrime? I'm changing my Wi-Fi password." The neighbor across the street, Karen Miller, peeked through her curtains, phone still pressed to her ear. The officer's eyes narrowed. "Step outside, sir. We just need to ask you a few questions." That was how it began, an ordinary Saturday morning that turned into a lesson the whole neighborhood would never forget. It was a quiet morning on Cedarview Lane, the kind of place where lawns were measured in perfection and smiles were polite but shallow. Michael had lived there for only 6 months. He was 32, single, and worked as a cybersecurity engineer for a federal contractor. Quiet professional who loved coffee, jazz, and peace. He was the only black resident on the block, and though no one had said it outright, he felt the invisible line drawn around him, the way conversations stopped when he walked by, how neighbors smiled too tightly, how random police patrols always seemed to linger near his house. That morning, Michael decided to fix the one thing that actually annoyed him, his slow Wi-Fi. His home network had been acting up, so he logged into the system and began changing the security settings. His laptop screen glowed with lines of code and IP configurations, the kind of stuff that looked alien to anyone who didn't know tech. Across the street, Karen Miller was pruning her garden and noticed him through his window, typing fast, glancing at his router, phone, and a second monitor. Her mind didn't see a man working. It saw a threat. She squinted, muttering to herself, "What's he doing with all that equipment?" By the time she picked up her phone, her voice already shook with manufactured fear. "Hi, yes, 911? I think there's someone hacking into our neighborhood Wi-Fi. He's across the street from me, African-American male, acting suspicious. Yes, please hurry." The two officers stood at Michael's porch as neighbors peeked from behind curtains. The air was heavy with unspoken accusation. "Sir," the older cop said, "we got a call about suspicious activity on multiple networks. Are you accessing anyone else's Wi-Fi?" Michael frowned. "No, officer. I'm changing my own. I even called my internet provider this morning to reset my login." The younger officer gestured toward his laptop. "You mind if we take a look?" Michael's jaw tightened. "You have a warrant?" That answer, calm but firm, shifted the air. "Sir, if you've got nothing to hide, you shouldn't mind." "Actually," Michael said evenly, "my work involves government security systems. Some of these files are classified, so yes, I do mind." That was the moment the tension cracked. The younger officer reached for his radio. "Dispatch, we might need backup. Possible tampering with restricted networks."
"Tampering?"
Michael repeated, incredulous. "With my router." He reached for his phone to call his supervisor, just as Karen stepped out of her house. "That's him!" she shouted. "He's been sitting there for hours, hacking everything. My printer went off by itself." The officers turned back toward Michael. "Sir, put the phone down." "I said put it down!" Michael froze. This is ridiculous, but the guns were already unholstered. They ordered him to his knees on his own porch while Karen stood there, arms crossed, satisfied. Michael's laptop sat open on the table inside, showing a login screen that read, "Department of Cyber Defense, Secure Access Portal." But they couldn't see that from where they stood. "Officers," Michael said slowly, "you're making a mistake. Stay down." He complied, raising his hands. The metal of the handcuffs was cold against his skin. For the first time, anger flickered behind his calm eyes. Not the loud, explosive kind, but the kind that cut deep, controlled by pride and training. He said nothing else. He didn't have to. If you're still watching this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, because what happens next changes everything. At the police station, Michael sat in an interrogation room, silent, handcuffed to the table. The two officers stood outside, joking nervously. "Guy's slick," one muttered. "Probably wiped half the data before we got there." Just then, the precinct's door burst open. A woman in a navy suit strode in, badge shining on her belt. "Where's Mr. Okotorigba?" she demanded. The chief frowned. He's being questioned. Who are you? Special Agent Ramos, Department of Cyber Defense. He's our lead systems engineer and your department. Just detained him in the middle of an active security operation. Silence hit the room like a hammer. Within seconds, Michael's cuffs were unlocked. He stood slowly, expression unreadable. Sir, we were just following a call from... Michael cut him off, his voice calm but firm. You didn't follow protocol. You didn't ask for ID. You didn't even check the address. You saw a black man with a laptop and assumed criminal intent. He turned to the chief. I was testing new firewall encryption for your city's network. Your precincts, in fact. A thick silence filled the air. Word spread quickly.